Hello there. Welcome, or welcome back to some more Vagrus. I think I fixed the audio issue from last time, but we will see. Anyway, when I left off last time, I was fully ready to start my supply run up here to Arken. Before that, let's take a quick look around. I don't think I have much business in the Temple District, but let's see if there's anything even remotely relevant over here. Although called the Temple District, this part of the city, sprawling over spacious rock terraces in the northwestern section of the gigantic main cavern, houses not only temples and shrines, but government buildings and other offices too. Lit day and night by blazing iron chandeliers, the huge dark buildings loom ominously, reminding one that even below the surface, the gods rule supreme. Chanting echoes down the streets and acolytes hurry quietly up and down the long stone stairs, carrying with them the scent of incense. Okay, we have a grand mortuary here. I assume that's gonna be the Temple of Ashkul, Cathedral of Sorgorod. We got authorities here. Let's see. The Grand Mortuary is a series of tomb-like buildings built both upon and into the rock terraces. The main building of this necropolis is a white marble mausoleum with 3 wings. Not the largest Ashkul temple of the Empire by far, but still an imposing one. Silent, white-faced novices in dark tunics stand around the plazas and chant holy incantations. This is also the graveyard of the city, at least for those with enough coin to purchase a resting place in the maze of tombs below the terraces. If you wish to interact with the Church of Ashkul, you are at the right place. Let's see, we can ask the priests about Ashkul, since we don't know anything. And we don't have this disdain of Ashkul. Whatever that is, we can ask about services, provide proof to the church that you have slain undead. Oh, interesting, maybe there's some sort of a reward. I should keep this one in mind. We can defy Ashkul. I don't know why anyone would want to do that. That sounds like a terrible idea. I don't even want to imagine what would happen if the god of death was angry at us, gameplay-wise. Because I'm sure that the way this game is, there is actually some tangible consequence for doing this. I am not quite keen on finding out. We can ask about the lore later. Let's see about the services. Many people turn to the Great King's servants. Most popular are those petitioning for a quiet death, proper funeral, or a contract of binding, but the priests are open to all kinds of requests. Huh. Interesting. So we can get cursed with undeath. Or by undead, I should say. And we can get that removed, okay. Have yourself and your crew blessed by the priests. Quite possibly for money. I'm okay. We can buy Ashkulite charms. Buy a bunch in bulk. Yeah, this is just one reliable place to put your money. Sign a contract of binding. I don't even like the sound of that, so no thank you. Okay, visit done. I'm going to go now. The Comitatus leaves the Mancio. You trudge towards the city gates. What is this? Loader's Loan. Possibly some story bit that I either didn't find or missed out on. That's okay. You arrive at the gatehouse and start to pass through the checkpoint. The guards talk to you briefly as the Comitatus moves through the gate. Do you still owe the city gate tax? Nope, I paid it on entry. I am free to leave. So, we are here at Torzak's shelter. Gonna go up here to Arken. So even though it's quite faster in a straight line, I don't think that's a good idea to cut through the jagged waste. Just like that, so... Oh. Again. I always run into this. Still not used to it. Really need to rest before I try to leave the city. I would rather pay double tax than double supplies, so... Let's rest real quick. Pay everyone now. Get one regular sleep. Just to keep my nutrition up, because it is going to drop quite significantly if I take too long on the road. Okay, see, this is one more thing that I always forget. That resting here at the Mancio actually costs your own supplies. Which is kind of fucked up, but... Sure, whatever you say, game. So now I need to get my supplies in order. And this should be good. Now I should be okay to leave. Okay, the orc's car is this one right here. There's dirt road up here. I do wonder if I follow this road up here and then cut the way to Arken. Is that going to be better for me? I have no idea. But I kinda want to play it safe. No scouting necessary, since I'm on the road. I do have movement points, so even though I have a 1 in 3 chance of actually getting decent supplies. I think I'm gonna send everyone. Yeah, of course. Failed. Ooh, what's this? Sudden gales and odd wind are no strangers to wanderers of the wasteland, such as you. But even you have to admit that there is something different about these gusts. It is almost as if there were voices on the wind, barely audible, just beyond the threshold of perception. Whispers. People stop in their tracks to listen and frown in concentration. The whole experience is quite unnerving. You calm them, ordering everyone to focus and get a move on. The crew trudges on, trying not to think about it. Eventually, the wind dies down. Yeah, I think this is the place we are at, right? What was the name again? Singing Winds. Yeah, the south end of the jagged waste, which is where we are. That is why we could hear the wind. I do enjoy that these codex entries aren't separated from the game itself. If you know about them beforehand, then it's not a surprise. That's very nice. Okay, big stretch now. Yeah, it probably would have been more efficient to go up here and then cut through the wastes. But I imagine there are absolutely no supplies around there, so... Here we go. You know, 3 is still better than 0, so... We're halfway there. I didn't even use up a single stack of supplies. I consider that a good thing. Yeah, this is day 3. It's gonna take about another 2. So even though the map says this was about 4 days away from Torzag's, following the road actually added 1 more. Well, what this means is that I'm not going to get the extra reward for being fast. But I don't much care about that one, I think. Yeah, it's gonna take all my movement points and 1 point of march to get there properly. Yeah, having just 1 more extra point in movement would save me quite a bit of trouble. But actually, now that I think about it, remember there are these leadership perks that I can buy. And I already bought Traverse. You can use resourcefulness to turn march points into movement points on the campaign map. So this would be an extremely useful ability. I could use it once a day to effectively push myself. And I think that comes without losing vigor, as you would for using march points. But to use that I would need 4 resourcefulness, and I only have 3, and increasing this by 1 takes 8 insight, and I currently have 7. So if I actually get into Arken, that should give me at least 1 insight for exploration, and then I would be better on the way back. Ooh, look at that. So pretty. Travelers, merchants, patrols and the like move around sluggishly as you approach the settlement, while some of them are just loitering, maybe waiting for something or just merely resting. Yet, one group stands out. At the side of the road you can see a handful of scantily clad people surrounded by men in dark robes. Screams can be heard. There is clearly violence going on, but the rest of the travelers just walk by without paying attention. Upon getting closer, you assess the situation. The men wearing black are without a doubt priests of Sir Gorod, who are in the process of mercilessly whipping the poor wretches who appear to be slaves. The angry rants of the priests make it clear that this is punishment for some offense, maybe an escape attempt. Blood soils the dust, and the Sir Gorodites are obviously taking grim pleasure in their brutal work. Move on. Stop the comitatus and leisurely observe the situation. Yikes. That's rubbernecking at a whole other level. Offer to buy the slaves. Try to free the slaves using force. He needs at least 1 companion who are not severely wounded or mortally wounded. So that would lead into a companion combat. Okay. This looks like fun. See if the Sir Gorodites let you join the whipping. Wow, you can have absolutely no morals in this game, huh? Yeah, let's just move on. You behave as all the other travelers and proceed without as much as looking. After all, something like this is a rather usual sight in the Riven realms, and it is not too sensible to meddle in the affairs of Sir Gorodites. Yeah, there's also that. They can be really scary if they want to be, which is most of the time. The agonizing screams of the slaves and the relentless cracking of the priests' whips continue behind you. Just business as usual in the Empire. Okay. Nestled beneath the thicket of rock pillars called the Arkoros Forest, the imperial town of Arken is constantly beaten by wind and engulfed in fine dust from the jagged waste. However unforgivable though its surroundings are, the settlement's inhabitants thrive, thanks to the Earth's abundant bounty: marble, limestone, granite, and shale. Artists and artisans carve the precious stones in their workshops and warehouses ceaselessly behind the town's silt-laden walls under the watchful eyes of the Praetor. Okay, first order of business. Need to turn these in. Yeah, C5. This is the remaining, right? So I shouldn't get extra rewards for this. No way, I actually did. How about this? Huh. Ah, here we go. Tasks completed. Oh, 6 days was just within fast delivery. I see. That's okay then. Do we have anything? Back to Torzak's shelter. I think at this point is a good enough base for us. Okay, there is one. 60 marble to Torzak's shelter. 12 days. So the fast reward is perfectly doable. Again, how's Oko? Oh, okay. I think before I turned in those tasks, I had 61 reputation with the Ratarnak Alliance, so... And which one was that again? It was probably the House Venari that did it. So judging from that, I would say that doing a task makes you lose 1 reputation with their opponents. Gonna keep that one in mind. Okay, but now that I have 8 insight, I am going to increase resourcefulness. And now I'm going to be free to use this traverse. If I am right. Anyway. Got one task here for Torzag. Got another one here. Okay, now this is an escort quest. The encounter difficulty around 81. If this means the combat strength, then I have 72, so this would be an about even match. But it barely pays anything, so... I don't know. Oh, wait, what's that? Risks, faction opponent, abolitionists. Oh, so the game actually warns you. If maybe a quest would... yeah, put you against some defined faction, okay. Yeah, until I have a definite faction allegiance, I think I should just grab everything as it comes, which would mean these two. Before all that, gotta sell these Flavo crystals for a little bit of profit. There we go. Get 1 full stack of supplies. And then round out the one that I already have, not full. Okay. So if I take both of those tasks, I would need 4 spaces. I can get more supplies in this one. But I will see about that. What do you have in terms of equipment? Protected harnesses. Goes in harness or defense. I don't have any of those. But it gives some decent defense for mounts and outriders. And some extra fleet chance. That would be also good. Guard animals, extra flee and vigilance. Those also use slots I don't have. Oh well. Oh hey. No faction offers. Would have been nice. Okay, since city explorations are usually daily stuff, let's do that. It appears to be an ordinary day as you roam the mining settlement of Arken with a few of your trusted companions and a handful of crew members. A light wind blows from the east, carrying some of the ever-present dust, and all around you can hear the cacophony of diligent labor. There is quite a crowd on the streets, mostly local workers and merchants wearing masks and turbans. Let's see what's going on. You pass by one of the numerous open-air storage sites. A bunch of heavily perspiring slaves are trying to haul a huge block of marble atop a pile of other slabs. Just as you walk by, suddenly some of them slip, fall to the ground, and within an instant their co-workers find themselves balancing their heavy weight with much less manpower than they had before. The piece of marble slowly slips from their sweaty hands and threatens to crush all of them underneath its weight. Panicked screams fill the sweltering air. We can not intervene, or quickly command a few of your own slaves to hurry over and lend a hand. Requires 3 slaves. Well, if some of them die, I can buy some more. That's always an option. Oh. Rank Island didn't like that. Apparently. Your slaves rush ahead to help. The screaming grows louder as the slab of marble reaches its balance point and finally topples over. The slaves try to run for it, but they are too late. There is a loud thud and the sickening crunch of breaking bones, then only silence. A red pool of blood starts to spill from underneath the block. Here and there you can see a few limbs protruding from underneath it, some of them still twitching. Your own slaves are buried there as well. Maybe next time you should reconsider before feeling too altruistic. Yeah, well, that didn't go quite the way I wanted to. Lost some obedience as well. But I can get it back. No problem. Let's see what the damage is. Well, they are still submissive. And I'm actually fairly okay workforce-wise. Okay, let's buy 2 slaves. Actually, sure, let's buy 3 of them to replace the ones. Because even though it's only a changer, workers do require upkeep. And it would be nice to keep it at a minimum. Okay, let's exchange news. Rumors about jewelry shop. It is somewhere in Devon. Word on the street is that one can find a nice jewelry shop in the Shadow Bazaar of Devon, whose proprietor is selling rarities and curios as well. Now you know where to find it. If I'm ever at Devon, I can check it out. Okay, not taking any of these. And now, before I forget, I'm going to rest. Okay, pay everyone. Let's actually pick the free option for now. There we go. Refresh the news. Nothing else here. Let's do another explore. At the marketplace, business is as usual, except for a stand with several samples of prospected stone at display. There, the vendor and the customer are engaged in a loud argument. As far as you can tell, it regards the price and quality of the wares. Let's stay and listen. You stop and listen. Soon, it is evident that the vendor, a local fellow, and the customer, a traveling merchant dressed in rather rich garbs, are indeed in disagreement about the worth of the displayed pieces of marble. The foreign trader thinks they are of poor and brittle quality, and thus isn't willing to pay the full price, while the seller insists that his wares represent almost the finest quality you can acquire in Arken. They become aware of you watching them. Okay, but like, marble is marble, right? So depending on what you want to use it for. It's not really a matter of whether you're willing to pay full price. Like, if you don't want marble that is brittle, then you're not gonna buy it, even at a lesser price. So that is what it's all about. Just want to argue a discount, like a Karen would do. They become aware of you watching them. Hey there, the customer calls out to you. Something tells me you have an eye for such things. Would you take a look at these samples and give us your opinion? Do I? I think I have evaluated. You inspect the pieces of marble on the stand, and after a little while, it is evident to you that the vendor is right, and his wares are indeed of very high quality. His asking price might even be slightly too low. Maybe he has fallen on hard times and is desperate, but not too desperate to make a sale. Meanwhile, the richly dressed customer gives off a rather shrewd impression, like someone who didn't become wealthy by always paying the full price. As if there's anyone that ever becomes rich by always paying full price. Yeah, let's take the side of the vendor in this one. Don't much care for a random guy. This is more than a fair price, he said to the customer. In fact, I believe you might have a hard time finding a better one in the whole of Arken. What follows is a lot of indignant grumbling from the merchant, but in the end he proves no fool. He settles on purchasing a hefty amount. After the deal is done and the foreigner leaves, the vendor turns to you with a grateful expression. Thank you, friend. Thanks to you, I made some good money here. As sign of my gratitude, may I interest you in some marble at a small discount rate? A discount, you say? 80% of local price. Okay, before I do anything, Interesting. It seems getting rumors and news also gives you slightly out of date price history. Very interesting. So I am going back to Torzak's shelter. And I currently have one extra space to load up whatever I want. Let's see. Oh, marble sells actually decently well. And if I'm getting at a discount, that's 5. That's less than a full stack, but still. Yeah, I can go for some discounted marble. Wonderful. Oh, I can do basic math. Away with you. There, that's more like it. Okay, let's see. I'm trying not to get into the habit of having these episodes too long. I know the attention span of the average YouTube viewer, so gonna look at one final thing for today. I want to use the burden for the Constant Sculptor. That sounds interesting. There is a curious shop one street off the market. Beneath the shadow of its awning, a variety of strange sculptures, both small and large, stand on display. The statues depict various creatures, mostly sentient beings of the Riven realms. The only thing they have in common is that they all appear to be unfinished to some degree, and that their faces seem to express some kind of reverential longing. Or is that pain? From inside the shop, you hear the sound of hammering and chiseling. Oh, look, it's a Skelly guy. You enter a spacious venue stuffed to the walls with sculptures, crafting materials, and all kinds of tools. In the far end, you see an archway opening to a huge inner yard, also filled with statues and large slabs of raw stone. In a corner, an enormous figure stands, hunched over a workbench, busily chipping away at something with a chisel. Upon hearing you enter, it turns around, revealing a sight you were not prepared for. Greetings. I am Thutmose, the proprietor of this store. How may I serve you? He, or it, says with a voice reminiscent of 2 slabs of coarse stone grinding against each other. Thutmose looks almost like a statue himself, but only almost. His limbs and torso appear to be made of crude clay, except for his hands that are those of a bone-fingered skeleton. His head is a yellowed skull with an eerie glow in the eye sockets, and his chest is open, revealing a frail ribcage within the clay hull. All in all, it looks like someone started to encase a human skeleton inside a constantly damp clay golem of sorts, but has not quite finished the job. Look around the store and decide what to do. Thutmose is standing at his workbench, listening to you intently. Okay, who are you, good sir? As I said, my name is Thutmose, the creature replies. And as you can see, I am a sculptor. I assume you also couldn't help but notice that I am undead. at least for the time being. Are you trying to sculpt flesh? Well, clay flesh onto yourself? So, you're undead? Indeed, undead, the expressionless skull on top of the body of clay nods. Or are you accustomed to talking skeletons? Of course, such a sight shouldn't come as a big surprise. A lot of the dead have gained sentience since the rise of the Triumvirate. I do not know how I came to be this way, nor who I was before or how long I had been dead. All I know is that I awoke 13 years ago in the middle of the wasteland, trapped inside this frail body of brittle bones, remembering almost nothing from before, but my knack for sculpture. So, what about your golem body? The teeth of the skull clang together. Is that supposed to be laughter? Well, as you can see, my cloth isn't exactly what you could call enduring, nor endearing. Given my apparent talent for sculpture, I set myself the task to create a more robust body, made out of clay imbued with magic. Shakes his skull. Alas, the work is rather tedious and expensive, thus I haven't finished it yet. I hope to finance my progress by selling my work, but then again, for that, I have to leave my hands skeletal for a while more, as adapting to clay hands would certainly hinder my sculpting. And of course, after the crude shape of my whole body is done, there will remain a long list of enhancements to be completed. Ooh, is that something I can help you with? That sounds like an interesting side mission. He asked about his undeath. How does that work exactly? Indeed. Oh, this is the same, okay. Why are all these sculptures half finished? But they aren't, Thutmose says. Art should be a true echo of reality, and my own reality right now is that I am incomplete. Please look closer. As you examine the displayed works, you realize that they are indeed in various stages of completion. The older ones are cruder, while newer sculptures seem to lack only a few finishing touches. See? They reflect upon my various stages of progress, approaching perfection step by step, just as I am. One day I shall create the perfect statue, and that day I will be perfect and constant myself. That's quite the artistic vision. Okay, if I do business now, can I still ask around later? Of course, the skeleton jaws utter, mocking the movement of living mouths quite unnecessarily. The voice seems to come from somewhere inside the body. Everything you see around here is for sale. Take your time to browse at your leisure. I am also interested in buying statues of you, should you have any for sale. Ha! Interesting. What kind of sculpture can I buy? There are quite a few rarities, and even statues or carvings imbued with magic here. Thutmose is more than willing to explain what they represent and even what they could be used for. Thutmose's idol. Minus 50 fire resist. But regeneration? Again, if I was the fighter type of Vagrus, that could be beneficial. There's a glowing crystal statuette that gives +2 power and fearless for a magically inclined companion. Okay, I might come back to you later. can get back here, I wanted to ask this. Sculpting a whole new body for oneself sounds rather intriguing. Ask Thutmose to tell you a bit more about the process. How very inquisitive. Thutmose's eyes flicker for a brief moment. Alas, there are not many who seek conversation with a creature such as I, and that alone invites a polite answer. Well then, regard my shape. What do you see? Apart from the obvious, that his body is a reanimated skeleton half covered in a statuesque outer clay shell, you do not know what to reply. However, Thutmose makes a gesture with his bony hands at his chest. As you can see, the clay is absolutely fresh. Indeed, it is shiny and moist, as if recently wetted. This is of utmost importance, for if it were to become dry, I wouldn't be unable to move. Yes, it should be. I would be unable to move, and would become, in fact, quite vulnerable. But how do I achieve this effect? Do I bathe in spring water every hour or so? I certainly don't. He points to a small amphora at the far end of the shop. Therein lies the secret. A small piece of bewitched parchment, the kind often used in the process of creating and animating golems, on which there is written but a single word of power. That is what keeps my new half-finished body from desiccating and crumbling. A neat process, don't you think? Indeed, it was fascinating. But now I'm going to say my farewell. I will definitely come back to him some other time. And I will definitely come back to you some other time. Because I am out of time. Thank you for watching. If you do like my bumbling around, then please give the video a like. Maybe share your thoughts in the comment section. And as always, I hope to see you again in the next one. But until then, safe travels, Vagrus.